Hello everyone, this is Friday Message. Just a chance to have a prayer and a little bit of a reflection and then do a couple of highlights for the coming week. I hope you enjoy Friday Message. I chose a prayer written by Bishop Steve Charleston. If you don't know Bishop Steve, I encourage you to look him up. He has some wonderful prayers and other resources on his website. So this is a prayer from Stephen Charleston. May the peace of God be with you. I do not know what you face. I do not know what you have been through or what awaits you still. But I do know that your heart hopes for strength. Your mind seeks for answers. Your soul longs for the companionship that only faithful friends can offer. May God's strong arm hold you up. May God's wisdom guide you. May God's good people come to stand beside you. Take this prayer with you. Let it rest quietly in your spirit, come what may. Let it be what you most need it to be, the peace of God within you. A little reflection. One of my favorite Bible stories is the parable of the Good Samaritan. You might know this parable, it's pretty famous. It's the story of a man who is going down from Jerusalem to Jericho. That road from Jerusalem to Jericho was very perilous. It was a descent that involved a lot of switchbacks, a lot of back and forth on a steep decline. So there were a lot of places for people to hide who might wish to do you harm. And the story goes that this man all by himself was traveling this perilous road. That was not a good idea to travel that road from Jerusalem to Jericho alone. And he falls in with robbers who beat him up and strip him and steal from him and leave him half dead in the ditch, the parable tells us. Well, pretty soon a priest happens by the way, and he sees the man, but he continues on. And then a Levite, the same thing happens. They see this man in the ditch, and he moves on. We don't know why. Perhaps the priest was afraid about becoming ritually unclean by touching this man, or perhaps they were just too busy and had other things to do and they couldn't be bothered. For whatever reason, they passed him by. But then a Samaritan, an unlikely character, comes by and he sees the man, and the gospel tells us he's moved with pity. And he reaches out to the man and he dresses his wounds and he takes care of him and he puts him on his own animal and he brings him to an inn where he makes him comfortable, and then he tells the innkeeper, take care of him and I will pay you whatever it costs to take care of this man. I love that Good Samaritan parable because the Samaritan just sees need and responds. He just sees the need and responds, regardless of the fact that it was foolish for the man to be on that road, regardless of the fact that that man was from a different tribe than the Samaritan, regardless of the fact that the Samaritan had other things to do, perhaps, and that it was going to cost him something. He sees need and responds. He has a pastoral reflex. That's what I like to call that. He was moved immediately and he responded. A pastoral reflex. Jesus, too, throughout the Gospels has this pastoral reflex. He just sees need and responds. Especially in the Gospel of Mark. Mark likes to use the word immediately a lot. And he'll say that of Jesus. Jesus saw a man possessed by demons, and immediately he drove out the demons. Jesus saw someone who was in need of healing, and immediately he responded. He just saw need and responded to it. No questions asked. It was a pastoral reflex. I've been very impressed with the pastoral care here at St. Michael and All Angels. The way that people are prayed for, put on a prayer list, put on the prayer chain, the way that people are contacted, the way that they receive cards, visits when that's possible, not so much now, but certainly visits, and then wonderful prayer shawls. People who are in need of prayers, in need of healing. There's just this immediate reaching out and caring for them. To the pastoral care group, I mentioned that my dad was having some struggles with the pandemic and feeling kind of alone and isolated. He lives in his own home and he's kind of out in the woods and he's been feeling pretty lonely. And immediately from that group, somebody said, "I'll send him a card." Another person said, "Do you think you'd like a prayer shawl? I'll send him a prayer shawl." Somebody that they had never met. They just reacted. They had this reflex to provide that kind of care, that kind of pastoral care. I was visiting with another man in the parish who was telling me that he had a serious illness, and all of a sudden he started receiving these cards in the mail, and he didn't know what this was all about. But he soon learned that he was friends with somebody who was a member of St. Michael's who had mentioned this, that he had this serious illness and could use these prayers. And the cards told him that he was being prayed for. And he told me that he took those cards and he put them up in his room, and that he would look at them in the midst of this struggle, and he'd look at them and he would feel the care and the love of this community. That pastoral reflex. Such a wonderful thing, and it makes such a difference. To see need and respond. That's our call as followers of Jesus. That call is rooted in our baptismal covenant, where we promise to seek and serve Christ in all persons, loving our neighbor as ourselves. Where we promise to strive for justice and peace among all people and respect the dignity of every human being. Just as the Good Samaritan did long ago, respecting the dignity of every human being, respecting the dignity of the man in the ditch. That's what we strive to do today by reaching out in love with our pastoral reflex. We're going to be blessing prayer shawls for the service on Sunday. These are wonderful, tangible, visible reminders of our prayers and our love that people receive. They're knitted with love, they're given with love, they're received with love. Let's continue to exercise our pastoral reflex so that God's love will grow and spread. A couple of highlights for this coming week. Diocesan Convention is happening tonight. There will be evening prayer, Friday evening prayer at 5 p.m. There will be a sermon from Bishop Smith as a part of the convention evening prayer. It's going to be streamed at 5 p.m. Anyone can see it through the diocesan website. There's a public link on the Facebook page or at the link on the diocesan website. So you can find it either through the diocesan Facebook page or the diocesan website. Tune in for convention evening prayer, 5 p.m. Friday evening. And we'll have a parish survey coming out next week. I encourage you to look for that and to take a few moments to fill it out. This will give us helpful information. Fill out the parish survey when you receive it next week. Be safe and well, and God bless you.